Elaine, my teacher, always said, when you would do a scene, and you finish the scene, she'd say to you, okay, did you do what you set out to do? And if you didn't, why not? And that's become my kind of criterion for whatever it is you do. That's really the only way you can look at it. Did I do what I set out to do? And if you didn't, why didn't you?
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Michael Imperioli is an actor. He sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Do you have a typical way that you like to begin your preparation process when you get a new character?
No, everything's different. Every job is different and every character is different. And, I always start with myself, which, for better, for worse. I did a little indie that my friend, actually Kevin Corrigan's in it, my friend Nick Sandow directed, an indie called The Mayflower, which hopefully will start playing in festivals soon, but it's a kind of a hybrid between documentary and narrative. And in one scene I play myself, literally, with Nick, who's the writer, director, and star, who's my friend. And we're having a conversation in Prospect Park. And then in another scene, I play a guy, I think his cousin, an older guy or friend of the family who was involved in the mob. And I play him in an interview with Nick. Playing myself was much, much harder, right? And I watched it, and I hated what I did with myself. Mm-hmm. But the other guy was like, okay, yeah. But at the same time, the truth you're going to get and the real emotion is obviously coming from yourself. So it's a weird paradox.
Yeah.
I prefer not playing characters that are completely fictional and not based on real people. That's just a personal thing. When you're playing someone real, especially someone who, not from 1,000 years ago, someone who exists on video and film that everyone knows their tics and traits and that adherence to the really external of physicality, appearance, speech patterns and stuff. It's not my favorite kind of thing to do. Although I do, you do it, but.
Is it other muscles that you have to work that you're not used to work?
I think it's because I'm always trying to get at some kind of personal truth. And obviously you can express it through those things, but like my favorite actors are people who kind of use themselves with extraordinary range. For example, the best example, probably my favorite actor ever, Jenna Rollins. And just look at maybe her two greatest performances. Opening night, Woman Under the Influence, right? Very different characters.
Yeah.
Suburban housewife, suffering a mental breakdown. Famous actress, also kind of suffering some kind of, maybe self-imposed mental breakdown. But very different backgrounds, very different economic strata, and one's famous, one's not, one has loyal fans, one's raising kids. And she doesn't change an accent or even tone of voice or, the look is a little different because one is a movie star, but there's no prosthetics, she didn't gain weight, she didn't lose, you know what I mean? She's not doing a limp or anything. Yet those two characters are so different.
Yeah.
It's just like this shift of the center of gravity.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for actors who are really known when you do a character, right? And you do put on something, especially in film, because film is so big and immediate, and it's in the movie theaters especially, it's huge. But like even watching on TV, close-ups and stuff, it's often very hard because you're watching them act. That's not them. Oh, is his accent good? Is it bad?
Yeah.
Does he really look like, whoever you're playing, Richard Nixon or whoever the hell fuck you're playing? Does it really look like him? The prosthetic's a little off.
Yeah.
Some actors do it brilliantly and expertly,
and then you can almost forget. that you're judging?
Yeah, maybe. If you're not an actor, maybe. No, you can, but there's something about an actor who really can use themselves and create range.
Yes.
I find that fascinating.
Yes.
On stage it's a little different because there's a bit of a distance.
Yeah.
When you're in a theater watching someone, like if you're playing like someone real, there's a set of given circumstances that have to be adhered to. There's no way around it. You know. I think that's why I kind of prefer doing something from the ground up, something nobody knows.
Yeah. Well, wait, I got to jump in here right now because the film you're going around for, you play I think it's a real guy, but one that nobody knows, right?
I play a real guy that nobody knows. So there was
What is that like? I mean, like, did you want to meet him?
He passed away a while ago, so that wasn't possible. But I watched him perform.
Is that a different kind of thing? Because the pressure's off, right? It's not like somebody's walking into that film with their arms folded thinking, let's have Michael see if he reaches that guy.
You're right. You can use it more as a frame of reference, especially because my character's very supporting role. You know what I mean? It has a very specific function in the movie.
We're talking about Song Sung Blue.
Song Sung Blue, yeah. So I play this guitar player. In the beginning of the movie, he's someone who's organizing these tribute acts. Like he's wrangling together all these different musicians who do tribute acts, like get an Elvis, James Brown, and a
Buddy Holly,
and a Patsy Cline. And he's in charge of packaging this act and bringing it to casinos and state fairs and things like that. He does a Buddy Holly act. Now, the guy was doing, Buddy Holly died at whatever, 20, it's a line in the movie, 24, 25. So this is a guy in his 50s. In real life, he was playing Buddy Holly, in his 50s, but Buddy Holly died at 24. So how accurate is the Buddy Holly portrayal going to be? Like for this, I did have to learn a lot of guitar pieces, which I play guitar.
Oh. I bet you like that challenge, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm a very idiosyncratic guitar player. I don't do a lot of covers. I don't really know. I don't know musical. I don't read music. So I had to learn a more just improvisational. And I mean, I can play chords and leads a little bit, but in my own kind of way. That makes sense to me. But this one I had to break down and learn.
Wow.
Learn chords and learn guitar part and some solos and stuff like that. And that took a long time.
Were you actually playing in the movie, or it was just to show that you got it right?
Well, what you're hearing instrumentally are musicians, studio musicians, I think, who did the backing tracks way in advance.
Okay.
I'm doing my own singing on the Buddy Holly, and Kate, Hudson, and Hugh Jackman doing their own singing.
Yeah, you could tell that. Yeah.
The guitar parts, I'm playing along with the track, but I'm actually playing the song.
Yeah, because you wanted your hands to be in the right place. Is that what you're saying?
I had to.
You had to.
I couldn't bear faking that. So, because you could see it, if you play music, you could see immediately somebody's faking that.
Yes.
And it's just like, if I'm not going to be able to do that and I can't play it, and I didn't have a lot of time, and I kind of freaked out when they offered the part, when I looked at how many songs I'd have to learn the guitar parts for. And I was like, I can't do this. There's no way I could do this. They're like, well, go to the studio, meet the music supervisors. They're doing the recordings. They're going to record your vocals for Buddy Holly. And I had to play along with the Buddy Holly songs and learn them and stuff. And I rented a studio one day and I went in and it was a disaster. I was just by myself trying to learn these Buddy Holly songs. It was a disaster. So,
oh my God.
My manager convinced me. I go in and I meet the music guys who are great and sweet and like we're all overwhelmed. Everybody, everything's too fat. We're doing too much, and it's shoot day starts too soon. And then the director, Craig Brewer, was in there, and I said, Craig, I don't know if I could do this. I said, I don't have time. He goes, listen, stop freaking out. He says, why don't you go in there and just play a little bit and have a little fun. And when you're done, if you still don't feel like you can do it, nobody's going to be mad. We'll do another thing down the road. Yeah. And if you like it, we'll go forward, which was exactly what I needed to hear.
Pressure off.
And he told me a story about another actor he worked with who kind of went through the same thing, because actors are, neurotic and crazy to some degree. So I went in and I did one of the Buddy Holly songs, and then I came out of the booth and Craig was there. He's like, get the fuck out of here, man. It's like, what do you know? He's like, you're not going to be, he's like, we're making a movie. He's like, obviously you know how to play these, guitar and you know these songs and you can, you can pull this off. I'm like, okay. I don't know. I guess I needed to hear it. I don't,
Yeah. Because music means a lot to you. I mean, like, you're a musician, so it'd be different if it was like about, I don't know, some other thing, right? That few people know how to do. The positions of your hands on a surgery table or something like that. I don't know, right? Like that, you wouldn't be so strict about this, or would you? Would you need?
I hope so. Yeah, I would. But especially this, it's like if I'm playing a guitar, if I don't have this right, then I'm not playing this role.
Yes.
So most of my time was spent learning those parts, and it took a lot of time. I had to plod and plod and plod, and especially the leads. The chords not so much.
Do you think that there's something that paid off because you wanted to do that like that? Do you know what I mean? Is there something that makes me in the audience there being like, oh, that's...
Maybe only because it made me believe what I was doing.
Yes.
Maybe believe the character and the moments and my relationships. It brought that to life for me, which is what you're always trying to do as an actor.
I've never done this on the show before. I want to play you a clip from Adrian Pastar's episode from a couple years ago. And this is the reason why I stopped you on the street a couple weeks ago. Because of course I wanted Michael Imperioli on the show, but it wasn't until Adrian told me this story that I'm like, I need to have Michael on the show. I need to talk to him about this.
Oh,
okay, so let's play this clip.
Michael Imperioli and I did this play, Avenue Boys, many years ago at the John Houseman Theater on 42nd. And just the freedom. I remember the first time I was grown up with a name like Adrian, you get threatened a lot, right? So I had to develop a pretty good fighting skills and a set of, because I was a little kid growing up, and so I thought I was tough. I thought I could handle tough guys. The first rehearsal I had with Michael Imperioli, he walked 20 feet toward me with the most fear and venom at the same time, and anger and malicious intent. All of that wrapped up in his eyes as he walked toward me. I had never been so scared in my life. I'm in a rehearsal studio. Nothing can happen. Nothing bad can happen. Yeah. I was terrified. I'd been in fights my entire life. Grew up streets of Philly. Tough. Yeah. Had a hard time, Learned how to navigate fear. Michael, walking toward me, scared the shit out of me. Like I'd never been scared before. Yeah. And it wasn't, and I knew my lines. I knew where I was supposed to be. There was no fear accompanying being unprepared. It wasn't like, it was just, I was genuinely scared of this. And Michael's not a big guy. We're the same. I mean, it's like, I remember that moment. I remember thinking, the protection that I'm being provided by my understanding of my craft and how I approach, and there isn't a system, a protocol system in place about how to, it's all, you make it up as you go along with the method. You figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But in that moment, I sunk back into my training and I went, it's okay. You know what? Be afraid. Be absolutely as afraid as you can be. Let what he's bringing impact what you're giving. And if that isn't the very nature of performance, I don't know what is. And Michael, we did another thing for a few years back here in New York. And I said, you really kind of, you kick-started or reignited the understanding that I had and that I had been waiting for, because it hadn't happened. I'd brought my goods and I'd done work all over. But that moment with Mike of understanding the difference between performance and affected behavior. He had none of the affected behavior. It was pure performance. It was the most beautiful thing to watch. Michael was one of the most talented individuals. And I learned more from that, him walking toward me, than I did in years of study, literally. But maybe it was the years of study that allowed me to perceive what was happening. You know?
Wow, that's a nice compliment.
That's 1993. What is he talking about there? Is he talking about something that you cultivated already in order for him to feel that from you?
No idea. I have no idea. I don't know I'm not sure if he's referring to we're rehearsing or like I went up to say hello to him or something.
But isn't it interesting that could be that effective where in 2021 or something like that,
Still remember.
he's talking about that for 4 minutes and how it's changed him and how he felt some. I think this is about like how he's basically saying he was feeling it from you to the point of fear in his body. And then he had to realize, oh, I should just give in and feel the fear because and work with it as an actor.
Right.
Like it's like he's faced with a real, but I'm just trying to figure out what you were doing at the time.
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean,
did you feel like you had a good handle on your craft at that time?
probably. I probably did.
Or you think this was just confidence?
I mean, it's both, confidence and insecurity. And, I mean, 1993, so I'd been, I started studying acting after high school in 1983 and stayed in class for quite a long time, even after I started to work. So at least 6 years, maybe more. So, and then had done a lot, before we did this play. So, I think just listen, we're actors, something kicks in to make this believable to yourself and just like, all right, this is where I'm going to explore. We're in rehearsal, I'm going to go for it, whatever it is, and just try to be that character in that moment, And I think probably a lot is coming from Adrian's side, what he's going through as an actor, trying to find your footing early on in rehearsal, as we all do, and think, perceiving me in a certain way out of that too, and the combination of what I'm bringing him, how he's seeing things. I mean, I kind of probably felt this. I don't really remember much of that rehearsal process, but I'm sure I was terribly insecure and scared I wasn't going to get it or be good enough. And there's always a lot of that stuff,
It's a stew of different feelings.
It's a stew, and it's like, I've been acting, professionally for 30, almost 40 years. Every time I start a new job, I go through this thing where I feel like I'm not really sure how to do this. And I've talked with a lot of actors who say the same thing.
Big actors, right?
Like everybody.
Yeah.
Which is like, what does that mean? We've been doing this so long. But then there's a lot of things that happen automatically when you start to play a role, investigate a role, rehearse a role. Like there's things that just, like if someone's a painter and they start to paint, it's not like, not all this fixed components have to kind of be present before they start putting a stroke on a canvas,
Right.
They put a stroke on a canvas with, 10,000 paintings preceding it.
Yeah. Right.
And hours and weeks and years of thought on what it means to do this. Hours of analyzing what they like, what paintings they like that they've seen, what paintings from what artists have moved them and why, what works of theirs do they like that feel like they did what they set out to do, what works that they did where they feel they didn't do what they set out to do. So I think we don't know that when we're approaching it, so we feel like, you got to do more, or you got to bring more, or you're not ready, you're not prepared enough. And of course, there's specific things that have to be prepared, especially know your lines, which is very important. I think that sometimes gets underestimated.
Isn't that funny?
I've seen many times people show up on a set and they don't know their lines well, and especially TV, because there's no time for anything in TV.
Yeah.
There's barely time to, especially if you're on a show that's been going for a number of years. Like, I went on to the set of Hawaii Five-O. I did a recurring for a couple of times. By the time I got on, for my first episode, they had been doing it for, 5, 6, maybe more years, well-oiled machine. And my first day, and the director says, so you're going to come in there and you'll go to the chair, you'll have your conversation, and then you'll exit through the bathroom. All right. Can we, are you ready to do one? I said, can we rehearse? Do you rehearse on this show? Can we just even rehearse the blocking? Where the cameras are going to be and stuff like that? Oh, you want to rehearse? All right. Okay, he wants to rehearse, everybody. So everything happens so fast.
Wow.
If you don't know your lines, right?
Yeah.
It just gets in the way of everything, you know? It's just like, oh, so now I'm going to be thinking of what my lines are rather than like really listening.
Yes. Yes, but I think hasn't there been like this cultivation of this theory like that? Oh no, the words got to be barely at your fingertips because that'll appear to be coming from your mind. Or something. Like,
barely at your fingertips means you know them, but you're not fixated on them. Not knowing, having to search for what the next word is, means you're not in the moment. Right.
Right.
And once in a while I teach acting, and I tell actors, you listen with your eyes even more than with your ears.
That's
you listen
good.
with your eyes, meaning like you're so really, really taking this person in.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it when an actor's like not listening, and it's because they're they're waiting to tell their line, and they just it's kind of a compulsory glance at the other actor, but then they look away and they're going back, and you could see when they're not really present in that.
Yeah.
Because I did a play almost 2 years ago, An Enemy of the People.
Yep.
Which was really wonderful and really fun. Week 15, so by week 15 we had done 90 or maybe 100 performances. Week 15, all of a sudden everything changed for me.
Wow.
And it was like I went like a step deeper into listening. And like even one of the other actors and I thought it's very subtle, this shift, what I'm doing, but another actor said, something's going on. I said, it's like I finally allowed myself to go a little bit more intensely into listening. Because, when you're opening a play, the first couple of weeks is just executing your choices.
Yeah.
That you found in rehearsal that works, you know, because you don't want to make sure you don't mess anything. You get it right, and then you're working with an audience and you're finding it. And then like week 15, things started to like loosen up enough where it was like something else could happen.
The idea that it takes 15 weeks for something like that.
Well, something else was happening before then, which was great. If that never happened, that week 15, I would have been okay. I was satisfied,
And nobody would be complaining.
No, things were going good.
Yeah.
It was just like really remarkable to see that 15 weeks in, something new was happening.
Yeah.
And it totally came from another level of listening.
Yes.
I mean, I was always listening and responding.
Yes.
But I think I was listening and responding with the knowledge of what I wanted my choice to be somehow.
Yeah.
Where maybe by week 15, I really was able to kind of let go of the choices and just know, okay, it's okay. You know, you're grounded in all these choices, so you can play with it a little more. It was just very interesting. It was fascinating.
Are you in general for film stuff? Are you in general like a later take kind of guy or an early take kind of guy?
It's always different.
It's different.
Sometimes it's right away. Sometimes it's like you didn't get it. And often, say you do 2 takes that you feel are good, or and then the director wants another take for some reason, like with the camera move or something, and I'll always ask, was that usable? Because if all my stuff was usable in that take, I can try something else. Because I like that. I like those takes.
Yeah.
And if we have to live with those, I'm okay with it. If they're not usable, I may want to try to do that again.
Yeah. You're trying to reach an acceptable,
right? Because sometimes they'll say, we got to do it again because the camera move. But I'm like, but is pretty much all of my dialogue usable? Right? No. If it's no, then it's like I want to try to get that wherever I was landing. If it's yes, okay, I can try something else.
And do you often find that when you do try something else, that that's the one that they use because you're experimenting?
Not necessarily.
Oh, interesting.
Not necessarily. Not, and it's often not what you think is best.
Yeah. You can't trust yourself, right?
No, no, you can't, because you're trying to judge subjectively what objectively is completely, because you're not watching it objectively.
Yeah.
You're doing it subjectively, but from an objective point of view, it might be really right.
Yeah.
But you don't have any way to know that.
Yeah.
It just feels one way or the other to you. It feels interesting. It feels new. Sometimes you got to be careful because new things, this goes more for writing. I should, and sometimes acting, especially theater. Sometimes a new choice seems better because it's new. Because you've been living with the other one for a while.
Yeah.
And new because it might be organic, but it's different, so it seems better. But that's not always the case either.
You've said that you have never worked with someone more than James Gandolfini on it, all
Yes.
of those scenes, and you'll never will again. There will be no other actor that you would have worked with probably in your life more than.
Probably not.
Talk about the idea of an actor that you like in real life, and you like how they work, and you work well together. You're on a successful show, and then the later scenes of that. Is it just complete play? Complete give and take of fun times?
I mean, it's not different in the takes themselves because you're still doing the same work.
Is there still the same pressures? Is there still?
It's still the same pressures. I think the security is in that you know each other well and trust each other, that you can take bigger chances maybe. But it's a pleasure. I mean, if you're getting along with the person, which we've got along really well.
Get along really well and know your characters really well, and feel like, okay, I'm talking about like a moment where all this imposter syndrome is completely gone from your body, right? You both are award winners for this work. Everybody loves it. Everybody's waiting for it. You guys like each other. Like, this is a unique kind of thing. Like going to work in that.
Yeah, no, I think the trust that you have for the other actor really, if that blossoms that way, sure, it can give you a lot of ground to explore, maybe more, go further.
One more thing about your early days that I find fascinating, and I want to just know the DNA of your body at this moment, because you were fired from one of your first plays.
My first play.
The first play.
First professional job.
First professional
fired.
job.
Yeah.
And the first movie you did,
I was almost fired from that.
I mean, and you call it like you whiffed out or something.
It was horrible.
So both things.
Really bad experience.
Lean on Me, and what was the play?
It's called Half Deserted Streets, written by Bobby Moresco, who won the Oscar for Crash.
Okay, right, and he's still around. He's down the street.
He's still around at the
stuff.
Actors Gym.
The Actors Gym. Yeah.
I think he also wrote $1 Million Baby. He was co-writer with Paul Haggis. He worked with Paul Haggis.
So he teaches film writing, I think, still, and has that gym. But people have horror stories that they recover from, but like a 1-2 punch like that.
They were about 6 months apart.
Wow.
The thing was, the play, I was the lead in the play, and it was getting a lot of attention in rehearsal because it was based on a true story about Bobby's brother, I think, in Hell's Kitchen, among the Westies and that kind of world. I had only done acting class. I didn't go to conservatory. I went to Strasbourg, and then my teacher from Strasbourg opened her own studio. At Strasbourg, I studied with Charlie Lawton, who's Al Pacino's mentor, that he talks a lot about in his biography. Charlie and David Gideon at Strasbourg were my first teachers.
Wow.
So I did, Method, Strasbourg, Actor Studio, that kind of world, that kind of training. But we didn't train in stagecraft. Like, They offer at Strasbourg if you go full-time. I went part-time and only did acting. You could do movement and voice and this and that. So there's not demands when you're in those classes to project. It's really about finding the truth as an actor, right? What method acting is making imaginary circumstances real. That's method acting. So I get my first play. I didn't know how to be truthful and project. Did not. So I also didn't know how to pick up the pace. You do a play, there's a certain rhythm and timing. It can't be completely naturalistic per se. So in early rehearsal, things were great. I had the character, everybody was excited and happy. There was a truth and honesty, whatever I was bringing as an actor was being embraced. Then when we started getting into more, run-throughs and dress rehearsals, it was like, okay, you're gonna have to speak louder. Okay, this scene's taken way too long. That pause can't be that long. You gotta pick up the pace. At the same time, I didn't like the director. I didn't trust the director. He hadn't done a lot of theater. He was coming from television, and I didn't have a lot of respect for him. I thought I knew better, but he was right, because people have to hear you.
Yeah.
And there is a certain pace that has to be maintained. It can't just be this. You can't just take these pregnant pauses every 2 seconds.
Right.
So my character was kind of very depressed and going through death of his brother and all this stuff, and I was really wallowing in all that. So, and they were on me. You got to do this. You got to do this. And we opened the play opening weekend.
Oh.
And at the end of opening weekend, they said, you're fired. They had brought in an understudy. It was my replacement. It wasn't an understudy who was at the run-throughs and at the first performances and stuff, and he replaced me. But for good reason. And the same thing happened with the movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. It was directed by John Alvinson, who did Rocky 1 and Karate Kid. And I got hired to do kind of like as an extra, this silent bit, they call it, which is you make a little bit more than an extra. I pass a gun to somebody, a high school kid, in this high school where the principal's getting rid of all the bad kids, basically. And then there's this big scene in the auditorium. He calls all the bad kids up on stage. The whole school's in the auditorium, and he throws all the bad kids out. And they needed someone to do this one line, which was, "Hey, I'm going to be a star." That was the line.
What a great line.
But to go from the silent bit part to get this part with the line, I had to audition for John. So I auditioned for casting, and they said, you can do this silent bit. Now, who gets this line? I'm going to be a star. You got to audition for John. During the lunch break, at the school where we were shooting, there's 1,000 kids in the cafeteria eating. It's loud, noisy. They're going crazy. And there's John Alvinson sitting at one of the tables. They bring me over to him. He goes, "Do you have a monologue or something I could see?"
Oh my God.
I'm like, you want me to do it now? He goes, "Yeah, that's why we're here."
Oh my God.
I'm like, "Do the monologue now." And he's like, "Yeah." He had no patience at all.
Oh my God.
So I do this monologue in the cafeteria, standing up. He's sitting down. There's kids all around. And he's like, "Okay, thanks." And they give me the part. So the next day I come in to shoot it. Cafeteria's full. We rehearse. He goes, "All right. So we're going to call your name. You go up, and you say, before you go up, you say, 'Hey, I'm going to be a star.' Then you walk on stage. You're sitting in the audience." The problem was there was this giant camera. I had never been in front of a camera.
You never faced
ever
a camera.
And this is 1980. What is it? I was 22. 88.
I think it's 88. It came out.
Those are big. It's a big Hollywood movie with big Panavision. This giant thing that's staring at you. Now I don't know what to do. What do I do with this camera? Look, where do I look? How do I? So I panic.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, I'll just mumble the line and maybe they won't notice me, kind of, and just like throw it away or whatever. And we do the take. And a bunch of kids have lines. Someone says this, someone says that. I say, "Hey, I'm going to be a star," as they name each kid. We go on the stage. Take one. He goes back. He goes, "You do that, you do that. And you, with that, I'm going to be a star line. If you don't give me something, you're out of here." That was my direction. So I did again. The line never made it in the movie, but I'm in the movie. you can see me, on stage with these kids. But the terror being in front of that camera, and it's like, that you have to go through for a while until you're comfortable. And I'll never forget opening night of the play. I was having like a psychotic break from anxiety. The abject terror of going out there. And I'm not talking about that I was having trouble with the director or projecting or none of that.
Yeah.
It was just going out there to do the play in front of people was so terrifying.
Yeah.
But you have to go through that.
Yeah. But don't you think another person would be like, after these two things, in both mediums, 6 months, would be like, it's time for me to go and do something else.
Well, especially the first one, because it was like, here's my shot.
Yeah.
Lead in an off-Broadway play that there was an article in the Times the week before it came out about the play.
Oh.
My picture was in the Times, it was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
I hadn't done anything.
Yeah. What kept you going then? What made you keep going after this?
I think I was able to deflect and blame the director and blame that, they don't, he didn't know what he wanted. He was going for something commercial, but I knew there was something I wasn't doing right,
So you knew you needed some kind of work on things.
I needed to talk louder.
Yeah.
The problem wasn't talking louder. It was maintaining what I found for this character and the truth of this character and projecting that.
Right.
And I had to learn a way to do that, which I eventually did, When I did the last play I did, I hadn't done a play in quite a long time.
And here you are on Broadway.
Yeah, I hadn't done a play in, I think, 13 years? No, more. Wow. More. Maybe 16 years or something.
Wow.
So I started really early. I had a few months to I learned all my dialogue before rehearsal.
Yeah.
Which a friend of mine told me they did, and he found it very helpful. Which I'll always do that. And I had a really good vocal coach, Kate Wilson, who runs the department at Juilliard, and she was the vocal coach for the company. But I worked with her. I had a lot of time in advance to work with her, and she said, and it was great, get a music stand and learn your lines standing up, especially because most of the play I was standing.
Right.
And learn your lines at full voice.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
For film, you're not using your full voice, right? So you can learn your lines like, okay, today I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to, you can just do it at this. So learn your lines at full voice. So from day one, as I'm learning these lines, I'm projecting. Yeah. So the projection and the discovery and the choices are all happening at once.
Yeah.
That really helped me a lot.
Yeah, I bet. But you must have been frightened, not as bad as back then, but also frightened on opening night on Broadway, right?
Yeah, I looked at Victoria Pedretti, who was, the lead actress, and we were both going, we were both like melting down. She's like, I'm freaking out, I'm losing it. I'm like, so am I. We're both in the same place. And the first night we had an audience, it was panic city. And really, Circle in the Square is in the round. It's not a traditional proscenium. So you walk out onto the stage, and the audience is everywhere.
Yeah.
And so the stage is on the bottom. It's like a little arena almost.
Right.
The stage is on the bottom and the stands go up. So when you look at your scene partner, you're seeing audience behind them. Wherever you look, you're seeing audience.
Oh, Jesus.
Because they're up.
Yeah. I never thought about that.
That you had to learn how to navigate that. So you have to even hone in on your partner even more, because if you look off to the left, you're looking at somebody else in the audience. And they're texting and unwrapping candies and whatever the hell they're doing, and you can see all that. So you had to develop this other level of concentration. But pretty much after the first performance, that went away. That kind of like really psychotic panic went away, thankfully.
Were you actually having fun, or was it past week 15 that you were having fun?
No, I had fun from the beginning.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I think you get over doing it with an audience and you could start to like just enjoy and, have fun playing the moments, have fun, tuning into your fellow actor and listening and responding.
Yeah.
And then fun in how the audience is receiving it.
Yeah. What works best for you from a director? What approach works best? Like if you could think of the people that got the best out of you, is there a similar trait that they have or a similar approach?
Well, one thing is making you feel really comfortable and really accepted and safe. Lean on Me was my first movie. I did 2 tiny little lines in another movie. One was in a scene with Tom Sizemore, who, has passed away. And one was an indie that they recut into a softcore porn movie that ran on like cable for a little while. One was an indie called A Matter of Degrees, written by Randall Poster, who went on to be like music supervisor on all great movies. And my fourth thing was Goodfellas, Fourth film was Goodfellas. Scorsese was the exact opposite of John Avildsen. He made me feel like I belonged there, that I was an actor just like these other, heavyweights. And, I got there in the morning and he came to me and said, or they brought me to him, probably more like it. And he said, "This is my trailer. If you have questions, come and see me." He said, "The only thing I ask that you treat the other actors like the character on and off camera," which actually was very liberating because I didn't have to be this, starstruck guy. So first rehearsal, De Niro's at the table with Joe Pesci and Ray Liotta and the other actors in the scene. And before we started rehearsing, I walked up to De Niro and I said, "Jimmy, what are you drinking?" Because my job was to bring them drinks. And De Niro just like looked up at me like... That was the first thing I said to him, and he went, "Give me a shot of scotch and a glass of water." I guess he was trying to think, what's this kid? As I was obviously an actor, I'm in the costume and shit.
Yeah.
And then I told Marty, I said, "Why don't I reset all the props on the card table?" Which I probably wouldn't even do now.
Right, because that's a whole
because this is my job. And he said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Let the kid do this."
Wow.
And then I said to him, the way they had the bar set up would have caused me to have my back to the card table a lot. So I said, "We should set this up this way. Now I'm doing set design. We should set the bar up this way so I can always have my eye on the guys." He's like, "That's a good idea. Let's do it."
Wow.
And he,
every turn, I mean, this is interesting. It's like Scorsese made you comfortable enough to give your own ideas. Then he accepted the ideas with me, which made you more comfortable.
In front of Robert De Niro. You know what I mean? It's like, where you're going to be frozen. It's one of your first movies you're working with, the legend of legends. So that's what he did. He made me feel so welcome and comfortable. And then if you spend any time around him, then you could see it makes sense. He's a very kind, compassionate human being. You know what I mean? He has it. Not to say John Avildsen wasn't. I think he was overwhelmed dealing with this, hundreds of high school kids all day long, and it was driving him crazy. But so one thing is to make you feel comfortable, because when you feel tension as an actor, you shut down.
Right.
You don't want to take. If they would have intimidated me, I would have just. Wouldn't have spoke up about anything.
Right.
The other thing is, who was one of the best directors I worked with from an acting point of view? Steve Buscemi. Which I worked on his movie Trees Lounge. I had a little part, but then when we did Sopranos, he directed some of the episodes, especially Pine Barrens, he directed. His acting notes from me were tremendous. Can you tell me? Just, I can't remember specifics.
Were they just very, very short verb centric? Is that what you mean? Like
they were specific ways in, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they were. Sometimes you just take a slight shift in point of view opens up all this other world of choices. You know what I mean? A tiny shift in your objective, a tiny shift in your intentions can open up a whole new set of choices.
And this is the job of the director, right? To sense that, to realize
unless they don't know that. No, if you don't know a lot about acting.
You said this right from the beginning before we were recording, which is great, right?
Some directors don't know them. They come from a camera background, because directors some come from editing, some come from camera, some come from acting.
Right.
Some are directors like Scorsese. They
Right.
come from that's it. They're auteurs, they're artists,
The key is to know what you don't know.
Yeah, if they let you alone, and that's
Right.
okay.
Right.
The problem is when they think they know,
Yeah.
like I said to you before, you get on the set and they're like, okay, in this scene, you come in, it's really cold outside and your daughter's there and she's sad and you're going to tell her that, her mother died and it's really hard for you. It's like, I read the script. We don't have to discuss that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If something's different or something's really important, this scene, you have to stay on her left side because, we don't have enough lights, whatever. Sometimes there's a very specific demand, technical, that's made.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
You have to stay 20 feet away from her.
Yeah.
That's the shot I want. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to adjust the cord. I didn't think of it like that when I was learning, when I was,
Right.
working on it, but I'll adapt.
Yeah. You don't mind that kind of stuff.
No,
you don't
that's
like
fine.
adjustments like that or like stringent,
No.
like blocking kind of. You could still do your work in that.
I did a movie. It was a kid's movie, right? Silly, but my approach is always the same. Sometimes people say, "How do you feel about doing comedy?" I don't know. I'm not a comedian. I don't know how to be funny. If the situation is funny and you play it honestly, the scene should be fun. Like The Sopranos was as much a comedy,
Yeah.
but nobody's playing comedy.
Right.
I don't know how to be funny. If the material is funny and you invest yourself with truth, it should come alive.
Yes.
So we do this scene, and the director says, in the next take, make like a comical face. And I say, I don't know what that means. I really don't. I'm not Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That's not what I do. Do you want him to be more surprised? Do you want him to be outraged? I can amp up that emotion and
Yeah.
do it, 100 as opposed to 50.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that means to make a comical face. And he said, I swear to God, he said this to me.
Oh no.
I'm not good at giving direction. I said, dude, it's kind of the job description.
That's the greatest I've ever heard. That's the greatest I ever heard.
He said that. I'm not good at giving direction. I said, that's pretty much your job as director. It's like me saying, I'm not really good at acting.
Yeah. Wait, director, you want me to act? I'm not very good at that.
So
I have heard it all now.
I just said, and I'm like, some other actors might be able to do that. I just don't know what that means. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Does it ever upset you? I keep talking to people about this. Does it ever upset you that you have to almost retranslate or direct yourself or be director-proof all the time? Or you have to actually walk into a project being prepared for all of those?
Yeah. I had a teacher, Elaine Aiken was my main acting teacher. She was really a mentor and really, I owe a lot to her, indebted to her. She always say, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself. Don't expect...
Yeah.
Don't expect someone to give you the answer.
Yeah.
You have to come with your own, you may not, it may go a different way and most likely will, but you have to be prepared and, you're very vulnerable as an actor.
Yeah.
You just are, especially when you're going out on stage, but even on a set, because you're exposed and, some people are assholes.
Yeah.
They're just not nice or they're just not considerate. They don't take in what you're going through. Or they don't have time.
They fall to the pressures of anxiety of the situation, losing
stress.
Time. Yeah, stress.
Losing time. But, for the most part, it's okay. You figure it out.
Yeah. This is what Kevin Corrigan texted me about you when I told him you were going to be on the show. I've known Michael Imperioli for 35 years. He is such a good man with beautiful ideals which he lives by. He is always creating good things and bringing good things into being. He truly makes the world a better place.
Jesus.
Michael, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah.
What is Kevin Corrigan talking about? Do you have something else going on with your work? Is there some other philosophy here?
I don't know. I don't know. I think what he might be talking about is like friendship and loyalty and things like that, that I really appreciate people who, you know, the people that you know, that I work with. I appreciate actors.
Yeah.
I think it's a you know, I think a lot of us feel like there's like an unspoken kind of respect, mutual respect for this. You know what I mean? Like that you have, and I don't know what he's
especially in this town, right? It's something about New York actors.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the theater history here.
Theater and the training history.
And the training history,
the classes. You know, it's a smaller community than LA, and it's more concentrated.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of wind up that you see the same people over and over again more than you did. At least coming up, it was like that. I don't know if it's still the same today. But I really loved the New York actor tradition, that lineage, and that, like, my teacher, Elaine, she was contemporaries at the studio with James Dean.
Right.
She was friends with James Dean,
right,
man.
wow.
She was roommates with Marilyn Monroe when Marilyn came to New York. She knew Marlon Brando. Like, that kind of thing blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, there's De Niro and Pacino in that era, which I managed. Well, I never did a movie with Al, but I rehearsed with him, and I know him a little bit. De Niro, I've worked with, like, those giants, but that prior generation has that, to me, that mythological James Dean and Brando and Marilyn Monroe. That's like, and she was part of that scene. So I really wanted to be part of that as a teenager. I was like, I want to be in that, following that kind of whatever world. And there was something romantic about it in New York, the New York actor.
Right.
There was something about it. I didn't, and I'm from here, and the idea of Hollywood was a whole other concept, which I didn't have, but, there's people like Kevin, someone like the first time I saw his work, and I don't know if it probably was Goodfellas, and then I saw him in something else, and I probably didn't even know that it was the same guy. But, when you see Kevin's work, it's just marked with a distinction and a truth.
Yes.
Because there's no good acting without a sense of truth. It's just not.
Yes.
It is. And he had that and a distinction. Like, I remember watching, I was like, oh man, it's just, it's so believable. Like, there's no performance.
Yeah.
There's no acting. I remember when I saw, it was a great indie movie called In the Soup.
Yep.
So a lot of these indie movies from the 80s and 90s are hard to find anywhere. And they're trying to kind of, there's this one group that's trying to kind of bring them, make prints and have them on streaming or stuff. In the Soup was Steve Buscemi and Seymour Cassell, who was a really close friend of mine. I really miss. We became really, really good friends. Anyway, Sam Rockwell had a little part in it as this autistic kid. I didn't know Sam when I saw the movie, and I thought, wow, they got this, autistic person to act on camera. It's really amazing that this person was able to carry this. Something about it that really impressed me. And then maybe a year later, I meet Sam Rockwell. I'm like, oh, you're the guy from In the Soup. And it's like, okay, and then you see the rest of the career is tremendous. Like with Kevin. Yeah. Whatever I saw him in post Goodfellas, it's always been great. There's always that mark of truth and distinction. And
and this
you can
inspires
see it really
you.
early.
And this inspires you, right?
It inspires me very much.
And it keeps working in you, like that kind of thing. Like that's the beautiful part of acting, I feel like, and the acting community. Like, people keep going out and going to see theater. So many of your friends probably saw Enemy of the People.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then they get inspired by that. And it's beautiful, I think.
It's a beautiful thing, yeah. And it's a, Elaine, my teacher, always said, when you would do a scene, and you finish the scene, she'd say to you, okay, did you do what you set out to do? And if you didn't, why not? And that's become my kind of criterion for whatever it is you do. That's really the only way you can look at it. Did I do what I set out to do? And if you didn't, why didn't you? And I guess, that's what I set out to do, was be a New York actor. So in some ways, that's happened. So it's all gravy from here.
Michael Imperioli, please come back on the show, please.
All right. We'll come back and talk about what? Something else? Anything?
You're going to now leave here. You're going to come up with things you wish you would have talked about, because this is a space for it. Come back and talk about them.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure and really fun.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.